Welcome to this episode on Noble TV. Today we'll be looking at preparing for job interview. You know, when we go through the four walls of our various institution or whichever school, most times we prepare our CV, our curriculum vitae for job opportunities, and this we give to various firms, various companies that need our services. That is a stage. The next stage is the physical interview, where we are meant to face an interview panel. And this is where the apprehension comes in, because most of us are not prepared for this interview, and so we don't know questions that we're going to likely get from this panel. And most times we fail this stage. But it's very, very important we understand that before you get to that stage of the interview, they must have seen your CV. You must have passed, you must have met some basic requirements that qualify you for that job. So you going through the panel, the interview panel, is just to give credence to that qualification that you have. So it is important to prepare very well for your job interview so you can skate through and be employed by the institution or by the company. Basically, we have various type of questions that you're going to be asked in such interview panel by the committee. Interview questions have been broken into various parts. We have the common questions that you're going to meet, that you're going to be asked. You have the situational questions, and you have the behavioral questions. These questions all aim at testing your ability, testing your knowledge, your education, your character, your behavior in handling such position. So I'm going to be taking some of the questions. You just listen. This is going to be the first part of this episode. The next part, we're going to be taking the question in this first part. The next part, we're going to be taking the answers. So I will enjoy you to stick with us as we take some of these questions to get acquainted with the question. In the next episode, we're going to be looking at the answers or the likely answers to these questions. Amongst the common questions you're going to be asked, we have questions like, tell us something about yourself. Tell us about yourself. We have questions like, how did you hear about this position? We have questions like, what is your strength, your biggest strength? What is your weakness? These are some of the questions that you're going to face amongst those common questions, interview questions. They will ask you, why should we hire you? What are your salary requirements? Do you have any question for us? What are you looking for? What are you bringing to this new position? These are some of the common questions. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? These are some of the common questions you're going to come across in such interview by the panel. They'll have the situational questions. Questions like, why do you, or maybe you've been through school for quite some time, you're not working. They will ask, why have you not been working for so time? So 5 years, 6 years. These are some of the situational questions. Why were you fired if you've been working before? What is your experience like? Are you a team player? Are you a risk taker? Do you have any serious medical condition? These are some of the questions that you're going to be asked by the panel. How do you deal with pressure? Do you prefer hard work or smart work? How quickly can you adapt to technology? These are some of the situational questions you're going to be asked by the panel that you need to be prepared for. Then amongst the common behavioral questions, we have questions like, how do you handle challenge in the workplace? Questions also like, are you a team player? Can you work under pressure? What are your leadership qualities? Or what are if you are a follower, what are your qualities? What are your traits? What are your characteristics? What are you bringing to the job? That has to do with your behavior. They tend to text if really you can fit into that organization. These are some of the questions we need to get acquainted with when we're going for job interview. And remember, like I said, if you can answer these questions very well, it is easy for you to get the job, because for you to have gotten to that stage of the interview, they've seen your qualification, you've met the basic criteria for you to be invited. So I will encourage you, like I said, most times to go to such interviews with apprehension. We'll go to such interview with fear. We don't know what we're going to meet. But if you're prepared, it is going to help you. Amongst also situational questions, they might want to ask you about the company. Assuming you want to work in a bank, they might ask you some basic questions about the company. What do you know about the company? When was the company founded? Who is the founding father? These are some of the questions you need to get acquainted with when you're going for such job interview. But like I said, you don't need to go to such job interview in fear. For you to have gotten to that stage, you have already qualified. So I will encourage us in our next episode. We're going to help us answer some of these things. We know these are some of the challenges most people are facing. Once you're sure you've passed through the 4 walls of any of the institutions you've attended, and you are acquainted with your profession, you are acquainted with your career, to be easy for you to answer these questions. In our next episode, we'll be looking at the answers. So I will enjoy you to stick with Noble TV. In the next episode, we're going to help answer some of these questions, and will give us opportunity also in the comment section for you to ask some special questions, so unique questions, also situational questions you've been asked before, and you need us to guide you. We're going to help you in our subsequent episode. Remember, from us at Noble TV, my name is Noble Arinze. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.